The time is now 2:07. I now call this Community Development Committee meeting to order. I'll start us off with a quick invocation, and then we'll go ahead and jump into our agenda items. If you would, please bow your heads. Father God, we just come before you right now, just thanking you for another day, another opportunity, breath in our bodies, Father God. We thank you for endowing us with wisdom and guidance and allowing your Holy Spirit to lead us and guide us into all truth. We ask that you would just continue to be with us, continue to help us make the best decisions to improve the quality of life for each and every resident that we serve. I pray for each and every person that is under the sound of my voice, that works in City Hall, that holds any type of leadership position, that we will be great leaders and exemplify the attitude and qualities that you would have for us too. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. The minutes from our last meeting are not current or not ready yet. And so I want to go to our first item of business, which is item number 1, a resolution approving and authorizing the mayor to execute and deliver an agreement between the City of Birmingham and Park Street Homes, LLC, under which the city will transfer up to 5 vacant lots located at 125 Reverend Abraham Woods Jr. Boulevard to Park Street for a price of $1, and Park Street will develop 8 single-family housing units on the 5 lots transferred. In consideration for the developer's agreement to complete the project and to sell homes as affordable homes, the city hereby agrees to provide a lump sum payment in an amount not to exceed $360,000 in support of the project. And we have Brother Corey Stallworth, who is going to take it away. Turn that mic on for me. There you go.
All right, are we on? Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
great. Good afternoon. And so we're excited to present to you all today this affordable housing initiative that we're recommending to take place in the Smithfield community. And so we have been working with Park Street Homes, which is a developer out of Houston, Texas, that are actually moving an office here to come up with affordable housing development in Smithfield. This will be our first development, a part of our Choice Neighborhood grant. And so a part of the Choice Neighborhood, we're looking to construct up to 100 new homes in the Smithfield neighborhood. And so this will serve as a entry-level subdivision for that community. And so before you, you have a developmental proposal. And so if you wouldn't mind going to page 4 of that proposal, where you see project overview, that will give you just some of the highlights of the proposed development. So again, it will be on 5 lots that are city-owned, and this location is right across the street from the Smithfield Court Community Center off of Reverend Abraham Woods Boulevard. And so the property has already been cleared for development. The city has just been holding these properties. And so based off the layout of the site, we believe that we can configure 8 new cottages on the site. And so they'll be very small, something suitable for people that maybe have smaller families or even seniors. There'll be 1,300 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom homes. We actually have a garage this time. We haven't done a house with a garage, but some of the feedback we've been given from residents is having a garage for single women, single mothers who want that extra protection when they purchase a home of having a private garage. The sales prices for these homes, we anticipate selling them around $215,000 in this community. On the next page, page 5, is just kind of a rendering of what we're working for them to look like. And so we actually don't have the final renderings yet. This is just some imagery of what we feel that they could look like based off of a lot of the character that's already in the community. And so we know in Smithfield there's a lot of craftsman style homes, a lot of Tudor style homes with history. And so we want to mimic that in the design. On page 6, you can actually see how the houses are proposed to be laid out on those 5 lots. And so they'll actually kind of be facing towards each other on this lot and have more of an interior green space on page 6. You all have it?
Use your mic, use your mic.
The cross streets. I see Abraham Woods. Oh, it says Second Street North.
Yes, Second Street. So Abraham Woods and Second Street.
And between Second and Third, or just on Second Street?
So
Street view.
it's just on Second Street, so it doesn't go the full block to Third. So it's half a block.
Okay.
And so it's literally at the corner of Abraham Woods and Second. And so, as well, you'll see on page 7 is a proposed layout of the cottage design, which is a traditional layout, and you have the garage in the rear of the home. And so we're proposing to allocate $360,000 in home funding to the developer to construct this development of 8 homes. The construction cost for 8 homes will be $1.7 million to develop this entire development. And so our portion is about, that we would recommend contributing, is about 17% of the deal. And so out of the $360,000 that we're recommending to allocate, that means that each home will be getting right around $45,000 in subsidy to help with the construction. And so that will place a restrictive covenant on the home, meaning that these homes can only be sold to folks that are below 80% of area median income. And so the developer will have to make sure that they're targeting that clientele and that we make these homes available to low to moderate income individuals.
So I know that Councilor Abbott had a question that she wanted to ask, but before you do, I did want to know, based off what you just said, the clientele, how are we going about targeting those individuals that meet that criteria?
Yeah, that's a good question. And so we have been working to build a pipeline for a lot of the developments that we're constructing through our down payment assistance program. And so our down payment assistance program is only geared to low to moderate income individuals and helping them find their first home, or, helping them in home ownership. And so we have a pipeline of at least 400 individuals through that program that the developer can go market to. They can hold sessions with those folks. They can bring them out to the site and give them tours of the houses. And so we have a pipeline already that we can work through. And the developer can also hold home ownership seminars themselves.
Awesome. Councilor Abbott?
Yeah, do you have a site map that shows where this is going?
I don't have a site map with me today, but I can get that to you. So right now what I have is just the site layout. But I guess you're looking for a site map that shows the larger community context.
Yeah, I'd like to know where this is.
I can show you on my phone,
Well, it should be part of the packet.
like something with the proximity.
Yeah, we can add a
Where- I mean,
Google map.
It's across from Smithfield Court, right?
Yes, it's directly across the street from Smithfield
Yeah,
Court.
I'm looking at Smithfield Court. I just pulled it up on my map, but what's throwing me off is where it says street view, because that's not actually the street view. The street view is from
What page are you on?
number 6, I'm sorry.
Page 6, okay.
So that's not the view, okay, that's really just interior to a block where it says street view. But,
Where is this? So these houses are facing one another, or they're facing the street?
So they're facing one another. In the proposed development plan where you see shared driveway, that is actually a new entrance that will have to be constructed. So that's not a street that's already there. The streets that are existing is Reverend Abraham Woods to the right of the page, and then to the south of the page, you see Second Street. And so this development is a large lot at the corner of Reverend Abraham Woods and Second Street.
Okay, and the shared driveway is owned by whom?
So the shared driveway will be proposed to be a public street that will be constructed.
So it will become a dedicated city street.
Yes, and so this will be a street where they can get into the development into their driveways and park parallel on the street as well.
But it won't go all the way through, it just connects through to the alley.
Yes, it connects through to the alley as well as it connects through to Reverend Abraham Woods. And so that is something that we can also be flexible on. We haven't, done final construction drawings. We also will continue to work with BDOT on that. But the recommendation today is for the approval to subsidize the houses.
And let me ask you this, how large were those 5 lots altogether? Like, how much land?
So I would say probably altogether, they were maybe close to like 2 acres.
2 acres?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I have
Yes,
a
ma'am.
couple of questions. So, okay, so it's about 2 acres, because it looks like, it was like a cluster of lots, like maybe smaller lots, and then one beside it that you're putting together. You've done the subdivision to create the big lot?
No, we still have to go through that process.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
we
then-
wanted to get this approval so that the developer could
Can know
actually
where they
feel
stand.
confident in spending
Spend the
money to
money.
do all of
Okay.
that.
So, I'm looking at it, and I guess you said it's 2 acres, so it's like a quarter of an acre each.
It could
And
be
they
a
don't
little
have
larger, it could be
a
a
lot
little
of-
larger. I was just estimating 2 acres, but I
Okay.
can get you the exact dimensions.
So on the zoning, they're good with this, because they're like 0 lot line, kind of like, I guess it is a small subdivision.
Yes,
So what I thought about when I looked at this was those cottages in Avondale,
yes.
How they're kind of together. Do you know what I'm talking about off Fifth Avenue South? I haven't seen anything else like that in Birmingham, but it's like a small cluster of kind of high-end townhomes off Fifth Avenue South. They're white colored near the animal clinic and the vet place, the Palms. Anyway,
Yeah, I'm not
it reminded me of that. Which I've always admired that, but in their case, you park somewhere off and then you you have to walk into that little cluster. You can't really drive in. And I guess my biggest concern about garages is having them on the front of a city street when most of and maybe facing Second Street, you wouldn't have the garages on the front. I think
No, so
that
these
street would have
houses
the
will be,
garages on the back.
they'll be turned facing what you see is labeled as the shared driveway.
Yeah.
That's actually the cut across street. They'll be facing that street, and that's where individuals can turn into the development and go into their driveway.
But I'm saying, so the fronts of the houses, you will only see the side from Reverend Abraham Woods, but you would see a front from Second Street North. Right? If I'm looking at this right.
No, that would be the rear of the house. So
That's
these
the
houses
rear.
will be facing inward.
The interior street.
Yes. That's correct.
Okay. All right, well, we're gonna have a new street, so that's gonna be the front yards. The front yards are gonna be interior to the development for
Yes,
safety.
and so there'll be minimal green space. Again, this is more of a cottage style development that we're gonna target towards seniors and folks that, ideally that are not, looking for a lot of maintenance on the home. We are preparing to work with the developer to do houses with much larger yards elsewhere. But again, this was an entry-level, smaller development that we wanted to target towards seniors or folks with smaller families.
So now I think I'm confused. So the front of the house is going to be at Second Street North?
So it'll be on the shared drive.
Shared driveway?
Yes, that's
Okay, all right.
that's correct.
So have you thought about a treatment for the backs of the houses that'll be facing the street? You know, like other people who live on Second Street, now they got backs of houses facing their street. Have you thought about, I mean, will it be fenced or will it have a tree line or?
Yeah, so we really want to be able to enhance that with landscaping, not really a hard fence. And also working on the rear of the houses where they have a presence that really blends into the community.
Okay.
And so this development will almost kind of feel like townhouses because of the density of it and the closeness of it. And so we want it to look like one development that blends into the community.
Got you. Do you have another question, Councilor Abbott?
I'm still trying to figure this thing out. What is this a picture of?
So that's the front elevation of the home. So that's not the actual homes again. That's just imagery of design elements that we're looking to incorporate in the homes.
Okay, so this little road that's going to be in the middle, and it says this is a gated community. I didn't know you could gate off a public road.
Yeah, so that is,
So how does that work? And then if some people's garages are facing, are they all, if they all face that little road, it seems like it's gonna be a mess. And I realize we're just here for the money, but I don't wanna approve money for something that,
How do you figure it's gonna be a mess?
well, having your house face the street and look like a house instead of just a big garage is, I don't know, it just,
and the plan is flexible, because like I said, right now, we're still early on in the process.
Well-
And so if the council would like for us to explore the houses facing another way, we can do that. I think the most ideal thing is that we are able to fit 8 houses on this lot, and we can configure them in different ways. That is actually something that we want to engage the community more on. But what we want to show today is just kind of a visual of what could be here. But we would still have to go through the community engagement with the residents, and there's still due diligence that we have to do engineering-wise to be able to move it forward.
So let me just ask, you wanna go?
Well, I was just gonna say this, because I see the front elevation and then I see the rear elevation as well, which doesn't look like the back of a house. It still has doors, still has, windows, so it's not like it's just a flat surface. Cause I think once we start getting into talking about the reconfiguration of, like the house, like it's gonna change the whole setup. At that point, I think if we turn the house around, it wouldn't even be a point for the whole shared driveway space anymore. So yeah,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if we were to flip them the other way, then there would be, it would make it difficult to be able to service 8 houses on this lot.
Yeah.
actually,
I think in this context, it's probably more acceptable than to me, than it would be like in the normal, like scattered site context, because I feel like most of them are alley served and you want that garage coming off the back. And the porch, is, the whole porch vibe on the front, because that's kind of how our neighborhoods are designed.
And we
But-
could do that, that would just minimize
But that
the
wouldn't work.
amount
I
of
don't think that
houses.
would work on this site.
No, it would
Yeah.
drastically change the development opportunity here.
Yeah, the way the alley serves this site, that doesn't apply. I would just be concerned about, like, like he said, the rear elevation is not horrible looking. I mean, it doesn't look like really the back of a house. In this conceptual, I know this is conceptual. So, I mean, that would actually not be bad to look at.
Yeah, and just imagine the landscaping going around it, signage off of Reverend Abraham Woods,
It's just different.
framing the entrance and all of that, and you have more of a more insulated, private development.
Got you.
I think for the feeling of safety, this is gonna be senior-oriented or just any 80,
Yeah, so
80 and
we'll
below?
be targeting seniors mostly for
Because
this
of the,
development.
because of the size
Yes.
of them? Okay.
Is there a motion? by
This reminds me of something new that's happening called pocket neighborhoods. Have you seen?
Yes.
Like concepts of pocket neighborhoods where you may have, 8 or 12 houses developed facing each other, and they are usually separated by a central green, like a big
Yes.
lawn, that, bring people together, but then you can have some privacy from your porch if you want to be out but not interacting,
Correct.
That's what this reminds me of. And it's not quite that, but it's approaching that.
Yeah, and this is just a tool that we're using to make affordable housing happen. So how can we increase density on the site and leverage the funding that is coming into the project?
Got you. You had one more question, Council? Yep.
Okay, so between each pair of these houses, it looks like you have 3 feet. What zone district does a 3-foot, does that's divided between the 2 property owners? So each have 1.5 feet on the side of their house?
Yes, so this is more of, like I said at the beginning, more of like a duplex townhome style. But there will be some separation just to make sure that people still have that sense of ownership.
So what zone district would that fit in?
I'm not sure
I
of
don't recall any
of
zone
the
districts
zoning
that
district.
have no space on the side. This doesn't even look like you could get in to put a scaffold up to repaint.
So we have our development at Shadowbrook is very similar, where those cottages will be very close together because the footprint is smaller. So the houses we're doing in Shadowbrook will be close as well. I just don't know the zoning to share with you, but we can get that information. But there is a precedence for the closeness of the homes that we're doing in Shadowbrook.
Okay, so one more question. Where's the grass?
So
Like I see the shared driveway and it looks like it practically goes like right up to the front of the house, maybe 3 feet away for a sidewalk. What is that space in between Lot 2 and Lot 3?
Lot 2 and Lot 3, so that is more of the green space that will continue around the rear of the houses. And so we wanted to at least have some space, green space for residents to enjoy, so that could be park benches placed there, and then there'll be smaller rear yards.
Okay, so
common areas?
this driveway that comes out onto Second Street North, is that the only entrance and exit? Or does this shared driveway like open out?
Yes. So the proposed plan would be a entrance on Second Street, and then you would have entrances and exits on each end of the shared drive.
Let me ask you this. Do you have actual examples of some development like this that has been built that, we could possibly see, or that could be sent to us?
Yeah,
That
we
way,
can get you examples.
we can have a better visual as to what this is gonna look like. Because I think, kind of looking at the
Yes.
drawings, it could, be kind of hard to identify exactly what the space is gonna look like and what you're agreeing to. So is that something that you could have sent to us?
Yes, we can get you some examples of like front elevations or other communities like this, so that you can see.
I think that Avondale community is a good example, even though the parking is not, it seems to be like, more like a parking lot. But they have the shared green. How would the shared green work in terms of, will everybody pay like a HOA fee? Okay.
Yes, so
there
we
will
would have
be-
an HOA for this development since it is facing internally. And there
Okay.
are some things that the development would need to take care of with that. We could also explore this being a private driveway and the HOA take care of that as well.
Well, I know a little bit about affordable housing. I don't think the development can bear, perpetual maintenance of the street, and sidewalks. So I think some of it might have to be dedicated for, the numbers to work for the developer. But I do think, if there's an HOA that's gonna mow and kind of keep the central green, I think
Yeah.
that might,
And that central green is very small, so.
yeah.
Even with residents paying a HOA of $40 or $20, that could take care of that. We're talking about probably something that is like 10 by 20. So it's a small square of green space right there.
Got you. Okay. Well, committee members, what's your pleasure?
I mean, I'd like to see more and understand what we're getting. This cross-hatched part on here, is that part of a structure, or is that just, is the house the actual white shape that's in here?
So that is the actual house, the white, and then the crosshatch is the actual, like, property boundaries.
The property boundary?
Yes.
Well, what about all the rest of the property?
Common area, that's the common green.
Yeah, that'll be the shared green space.
Okay. Well, if y'all feel comfortable.
I want to ask another question, if you don't mind, about the deed restrictions.
Okay,
So-
one more, go ahead.
Okay, okay. The deed restrictions, you mentioned that if they resell, they have to sell to someone, so their income is going to restrict the income of the next buyer. Does the
Well-
city have to be in a position to buy it back if they can't find a buyer in that income range?
So these don't have the resale restriction. The restriction is on the buyer, and the buyer has to stay within the home for at least 5 to 10 years. And if they don't, then they have to pay a prorated amount back of the subsidy that was put into their home. So that's the $45,000. They would have to pay a percentage of that back.
So the affordability period is just 5 years. So if they sell at 5 years and a day, and the market has changed, then it could go to market rate.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct, and that's typically how the home program works. Any restrictions beyond that will be a restriction that the city would place on the development. But the home program strictly has the 5 and the 10-year affordability period.
I was looking at the habitat deed restrictions, because they did that development in Rising with the ARPA funds. They have an affordability period of 20 years that, people can sell before, and then I've seen some that go up to 30 years where the second buyer is restricted to less than 120% of AMI. I'm just saying, it'd be nice to keep some long-term affordability, because these markets are gonna be changing, and this is so close to downtown, it might be nowhere for working-class people to live. If things happen the way we want them to happen. And I'm not saying necessarily for this project, but I think as a matter of policy, without a community land trust, we might need to look at ways to create long-term affordability in some of these re-emerging areas, because, just anti-displacement strategy, absent a community land trust. You know, there's ways you can restrict who can buy the property for longer than just our down payment period, because we
Yes,
do have,
correct.
and in those cases, you subsidize once, and you're not buying the cost down for the next time you want to make it affordability, you stay connected. I mean, I don't know what these people would think about that, but I think policy-wise, it's just something we ought to look at for future.
Got you. Is there a motion?
I'm just ready to see something pretty in Smithfield.
Is there a motion?
That was not a motion, but if there are no more questions, let's have it.
Oh, I'm good. I'll wait to see the real design when it gets here.
Okay.
I'd
We
like to
obviously
make a
aren't
motion.
We aren't prepared to talk about the actual design, so we'll just go with the money.
Yeah.
And then, okay.
It's coming back, right?
Well, we could
Oh,
go to
yes, yes.
subdivision committee, we could go to. I didn't go on there. I'd have to come back too.
Yeah, I'm good with going ahead.
All right, is there a motion for, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Item number 2, we're gonna go to the resolution to authorize allocation of neighborhood association funds. Item number 2 is a resolution authorizing an appropriation pursuant to, I'm gonna let you read this one. Cause look, I'm gonna mess up the dashes and the subsections and all that good stuff, so I'll let you read that one.
Beverly Scruggs, I serve as Assistant City Attorney in the Office of the City Attorney. Item 2 is a resolution authorizing appropriation pursuant to Section 11-4-11 and Section 11-47-19 of the Code of Alabama, and the sum of $3,500 for the purpose of purchasing 1 stove and 1 refrigerator for the Eagle Nook Recreation Center, and the funds are to come from the Eagle Nook Neighborhood Association funds.
Got you. So I guess my only question is this not something that, Park and Rec would have allocations for to handle those?
It is something that could potentially be used, could potentially be funded through Park and Recreation, but as the neighborhood association typically holds their functions and neighborhood meetings there, they have requested use of their funds to facilitate those uses that they're currently participating in at that location.
Got you. And I guess after it goes before the city council agenda and, it's hopefully approved, how long would it take for those funds to be released to be able to purchase?
That's a question that could probably better be answered by someone in purchasing. It's got to go through their process because this is a request to allocate funds. It is not a contract, so it's not something that could be done outside of purchasing's process and protocol.
Got you. Okay. Y'all have any questions? No. Okay. Well, is there a motion?
I move approval.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item 3.
A resolution authorizing an appropriation pursuant to Section 11-40-1 and Section 11-47-19 of the Code of Alabama, and the sum of $1,500 for the purpose of purchasing 1 exercise bike for the Eagle Nook Recreation Center, and said funds to come from the Eagle Nook Neighborhood Association funds.
I move approval.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes. Item 4.
A resolution to authorize the mayor to allocate funds in an amount not to exceed $3,000 and execute contracts with Grace Club Community Development Corporation to allow Grace Club CDC to provide book bags and school supplies at the Community Fun Day on August 2nd, 2025. Said funds to come from the following sources: $1,000 from the West Brownsville Neighborhood Association, $1,000 from the East Brownsville Neighborhood Association, and $1,000 from the Roosevelt Neighborhood Association funds.
Only question that I have is there a school that touches all of these different neighborhoods? And I don't know if that's
Green Acres,
Green Acres.
I don't know, let's see, what else is out
But there is a school that pretty much pulls from all those different neighborhoods in that
there?
area.
57, so I don't know.
Jones
Jones
Valley.
Valley. Winona High School,
Okay. And
West End.
got you. And this wouldn't necessarily be for you. I guess this would be something that we could possibly communicate to them, to all the neighborhood associations that are a part of this. First of all, I think that what they're doing is a great thing. However, I would like to see them partner with an actual school, or at least, Birmingham, city schools, some type of representative to come out to this event. We have a lot of parents, a lot of families that, receive these school supplies, but we don't have as many that actually show up to school on the first day, right? So they'll have all these book bags, they'll have these pencils and all of these different things. Go ahead. Yeah, they'll have all these different supplies, but they won't be registered. And so I would love to see some type of partnership with Birmingham City Schools, to have somebody to help register them. Yeah, so that before they even receive the supplies or the book bags, they have to register and then they get their supplies.
So, Alice Williams, Deputy Director of Community Resource Services, City of Birmingham. So this particular community put on this event last year, and they had several vendors and several participants in the community. It was a well-received event, so I don't doubt that they'll have even more this year. So it was well-organized with several agents throughout the county that participated. So we'll make sure we convey that to the neighborhood, but I'm sure they had that in mind when they pulled this event together, because they didn't want to do a traditional fun day. So like I said, last year they had legal services and everyone participating. So it was a great event, well-received, and great turnout. So I'll make sure I convey that to the neighborhood associations for you.
Got you. And again, I think what they're doing is awesome. I just want to make sure that, everybody is intentional. Not even just them, but anybody that's doing a back-to-school bash, I'm encouraging them to partner with the schools, partner with the school system, to get more people registered for first day. So,
All right, thank you.
thank you. Any questions? Is there a motion?
I move approval.
Second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, moving on to item number 5.
A resolution pursuant to Section 11-40-1 and Section 38-2-9 of the Code of Alabama, authorizing the mayor to execute and deliver an agreement with Travelers Aid Society of Greater Birmingham in an amount not to exceed $750 to allow Travelers Aid to provide transportation to cancer treatment appointments for senior residents in the city of Birmingham who are transportation disadvantaged, and said funds to come from Central City Neighborhood Association funds.
All right, so the only question that I have is this something that VIA on demand will be able to assist with?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
VIA, the van service, on demand, is that not something that
I mean, I would assume so. I didn't know Travelers Aid helped travelers who lived here. I thought that was for visitors, so I'm confused on it, but
got you?
I don't know the link with Travelers Aid.
Okay, well, I was just curious. Are there any other questions? No? Is there a motion?
I move approval.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That item passes. Now, we did have one item that was given to us from Community Development.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Randy Foy, and I serve as Deputy Director of Community Development, Public Services and Grants. So what we have is a resolution authorizing the mayor to submit the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. It's our annual action plan, use of funds that we submit each year annually for our entitlement funds.
Got you. So I'll read the resolution in full. A resolution authorizing the mayor to submit to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development on or before July 13, 2025, the city's final action plan, one-year use of funds, submission for the period July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, in accordance with the consolidated formula allocation budget authorized herein, and further authorizing the mayor to enter into necessary agreements under the Community Development Block Grant Program, CDBG, Home Investment Partnership Program, American Dream Down Payment Initiative, Housing and Urban Development Emergency Shelter Grant Program, Housing Opportunities for Persons with AIDS Program, and Urban Development Action Grant Repayment Program to acquire services as authorized herein. And so the amount for this is $9,324,201.56, correct?
Yes, that's the combined amount of all programs.
And so this is how much money we are allocating towards these different organizations within our city that are doing housing projects.
Yes, and so they're also providing public services to our seniors, unsheltered individuals, and our youth.
Got you. And is there anybody that has been added to this list that wasn't there, in previous years?
Yes, so we do have 5 new partners under the economic development. We have the Wellness Bridge. We proposed the allocation of $6,000, and they are to create 2 new jobs with 2 new trainers. Under the housing rehabilitation, we're going to partner with HICA to assist 6 families with affordable housing. Under CDBG Employment and Housing Assistance, One Place, Metro Alabama, we proposed $30,000 allocation. They are going to work with victims of domestic violence and sexual abuse. Under Youth Development and our Senior Citizens, New Hope Community Center, they are going to create opportunities for our seniors, also help them with hot meals, computer skills, and free counseling. And the last one is under Public Facilities and Infrastructure, West Hills Development Center. They turned the old Powderly Elementary into a STEM facility for pre-K students. And so they're using funds of $40,000 for the remodeling of additional classrooms.
Got you. Committee members? Turn your mic on. Turn your mic on.
I don't see down payment assistance in this budget, so I think I can discuss it and vote on it, but I don't see it in there.
It's under,
Okay.
It's on the third page.
You do see it on the third page?
I see $500,000
Okay,
under the Home
okay.
Investment Partnership Program.
All right, well. Y'all take it away. I'm gonna recuse myself.
Okay. I was about to say, Councilor Abbott, did you have any questions?
Did our funds, you may have already answered this, did our funds for Birmingham go up or down or stay the same?
so they did go down for CDBG and for ESG. However, they did increase for home funds and HOPWA, our HOPWA entitlement funds.
Okay, so did we break even?
No, we didn't. It was not dramatic. I believe for CDBG, we lost about 12,000. ESG, we lost about 6,000, but we did increase in HOPWA and home. I don't know how those exact amounts right now, but it wasn't a break even, but it wasn't too dramatic.
Yeah, because in the past, we got money for the number of pre-1945 homes we had. And since we've been tearing houses down at a record rate, and almost all of them are pre-1945. I was just wondering if that had affected our funding or whether the feds don't know we tore all those houses down.
So when we did our analysis of apiements to fair housing, our housing stock has declined some. And I don't think that played a factor into our entitlement. I think just the budget that was approved on the federal level played a factor across the board. So not specifically just Birmingham, but all entitlements received a reduction.
Okay, well, at least we got some.
Yes.
So I move approval.
I second that. Wait, I'm sorry. I did have one other question. I saw that there was $10,000 put towards broadband
Yes.
to provide vouchers for internet access. Is that how much we've allocated in the past as well, or is that
Yes, the line item amount has always been 10,000.
10,000?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
My extension?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That item passes.
Thank you.
The next Birmingham Park and Recreation Board meeting will take place on tomorrow, starting at 9 a.m. at the Maxine Parker Boardroom located at Legion Field. I will inform you that one of the questions that I am going to ask about is how much money we've been able to collect from the individuals who have participated and utilized our pools thus far, since they've been open. I think that gives us a insight into how many people are actually using the pool, since we're only charging $1 per, or $1 to use the pool. So that'll just give us more insight into how many people we actually have coming out to these pools. I know that there's a lot of conversation around the fact that, there are a lot of pools that are down, and, some folks are upset about that. But I think, for the ones that we do have that are open, I would like to know how many people are actually, participating and using them. Felt like there was a question that you all were gonna
I
ask.
was just gonna say, because we're opening some pools that haven't traditionally opened, I think we need to also ask, how are they promoting and getting the word out to
Absolutely.
communities that those pools are now open, or to the whole city? Because people will pick one if they want to go to a pool, and now they have more options.
Exactly.
So,
So I think that's a good point.
Well, and another good question is, do we offer swimming lessons to people who go to these pools? Because, one of the reasons people drown is they never learn to swim.
Right.
And just jumping in the pool doesn't mean you know how to swim.
Right.
So it'd be interesting just to ask them if they have any plans for swimming lessons.
So I know, I can answer that question. I know that they do have plans and they do offer swim lessons. You can pay $10 and get 2 weeks worth of swim lessons. So it's very affordable, and it's available. But I think that's also a good question about promoting. I do know that, Park and Rec staff have, done a good job of just kind of communicating through news outlet medias and, sending out messages. But we definitely want to make sure that we share it with more people so that they know what amenities are available in their neighborhood. So, but yeah, that meeting will take place tomorrow, starting at 9 a.m. at the Maxine Parker Boardroom at Legion Field. And the next community development meeting will take place on July 1st at 2 p.m. Yeah. Any other announcements, or all hearts and minds clear?
I just, do you have a list of the pools that will be opening?
Yes, I do.
Okay, that's
No.
not part of the meeting, I just wondered.
Okay. I was about to say, I don't
Like
have
if
it off
you
the
could-
top of my head, but,
If you could send them, that would be great.
okay.
There's probably more than one council member that wonders.
Yeah, I will definitely make sure I send that list to you all. Any other questions? All hearts and minds clear?
Yes, I move that we adjourn.
All right, second, all in favor say aye. Aye, all opposed. We are